Okay, so we are starting one of the trigonometry units. We have the basic trigonometry unit, and then we will be going into the graph and trigonometry unit. Okay, so now even though it's called trigonometry, the first day is not, it doesn't have anything really to do with trigonometry. We're just talking about angles and rotations. Okay, so let's just talk about an angle here. When you have an angle that opens counterclockwise, all right, so write that down, counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. Okay, that means it opens up. That has a positive angle measure. All right, so with the angle, if the angle is opening counterclockwise like this, means it's opening up, and we usually put an arrow in that to show which way the angle is opening, so that you know that the angle is opening up and it is opening counterclockwise. The side where it's starting from, this side right here, that's called the initial side. And the side where the angle stops, this side, this ray, that's called the terminal side. Terminal to meaning stop, end. So if this opens counterclockwise like this possibly, this angle could be maybe 32 degrees. Okay, so now let's take a look at over here on the right side. This angle here, okay, is opening down like this. Okay, that's a clockwise. Okay, something that opens clockwise or opens down has a negative angle measure. Okay, so, and then the side where it's starting from, which would be this side, that side's called the initial side. So where it starts is the initial side. And then this side over here, where it stops, this side, that would be called the terminal side. So since this is opening down and it has a negative angle measure, maybe possibly this angle is negative 60 degrees. Okay, so let's talk about angles that are in standard position. Okay, angles that are in standard position are when your initial side is on the positive side of the x-axis and the vertex is at the origin, which is 0, 0. All right, so just quick review though, when you have a graph, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and this would be quadrant 4. Okay, so an angle in standard position would start from the positive x-axis, so starting from here, that's your initial side. Okay, initial. Okay, so now we have quadrantal angles. Quadrantal angles are angles whose terminal side falls on the axes. Okay, so our initial side is here, terminates on the y-axis right here. So that is 90 degrees. That's a quadrantal angle, 90 degrees. Another one would be to start here. Remember, it's got to be in standard position, so it starts on the positive x-axis. And it terminates right here on the negative side of the x-axis. So that is 180 degrees. Another one would be starting here on the positive x-axis and going around and stopping on the negative side of the y-axis. So that is 270 degrees. And we can have an angle that starts here, goes all the way around, ends where it starts, so the terminal side is the initial side, and that would be 360 degrees. Those are quadrantal angles. They fall on the axes. So obviously they are multiples of 90 degrees. Okay, now before we get into what coterminal angles are, just quickly, let me move this out of the way. You can have angles that are bigger than 360 degrees. So you can have an angle, let's say, is 450 degrees. Okay, and what that is, it's an angle that starts here on the positive side of the x-axis. It goes around, because that would be 360, and then it terminates in one of the quadrants. So it loops around, because that's 360, loops around to 360. Now, to see where it falls, you take 450 and minus 360. All right, so we get 0. That would be 90. So it actually comes around, and it terminates right here. So it goes all the way around and stops there. That's 450 degrees. Okay, so to see where your angle would fall, you just subtract 360 degrees. It could be even bigger. It could be bigger than 720 degrees. So you just keep subtracting 360 degrees until you get an angle that's less than 360 to figure out where it's going to fall, in which quadrant. All right, so back to our video worksheet. Okay, let's talk about coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are angles in standard position. So remember, a standard position angle, its initial side has to be on the positive x-axis, and it has to terminate in one of the quadrants and have the vertex at the origin. And it has to share the same terminal side. So here I have graph 300 degrees. So everyone graph 300 degrees. So you have to figure out which quadrant it will fall in. So it starts here. Okay, so this would be 90, 180, 270, 300. It's going to terminate in quadrant 4, like this. So there's 300 degrees, okay? Opens up like that. So I want an angle that's in standard position, which means it has to start here and share the same terminal side. So it means it has to end here in the same spot. So this angle that opens down starts on the initial side and ends here on the terminal side going down. That is so this one right here is coterminal. So to figure out what that is, obviously the whole circle adds up to be 360 degrees. So you take 360 and you minus 300, which is 60. But since it opens down, my coterminal angle is negative 60 degrees. That's not the only coterminal angle there is. There's actually an infinite amount of coterminal angles. And the reason why is because you can take your angle, which is 300 degrees, and now open it up like this. So I'm going to move this here. So let's say I have this 300 degree angle. I'm going to redraw it. Right, 300 degrees I said was here. So what if your angle opens like this? Comes around, goes past that terminal side, goes around like this, and then stops here. That's a coterminal angle. So that would be, I would go all the way around, that's 360, plus another, and this angle was 300, plus another 300. So that's 660 degrees. That's a coterminal angle. This would be another coterminal angle. So go back to 300. So there's my 300 degree angle. This would be another coterminal angle. Starting here, going around this way, all the way around, that's 360, and then stopping there. So this here is 360, right? And another 60 degrees here. So that is 420. But since we're opening it down like this, we're opening it down, like we're going around this way, going down, it's negative 420 degrees would be my coterminal angle. And obviously, you could keep going. There's an infinite amount. You could keep going. I could go back around this way and start here, go around once, go around twice. So that's 360, 360, and another 300. So it's 360, 360, and then another 300. So that's 0, 12, 10, 20. That's 1,020 degree angle. All right, so it's infinite. Usually what we would ask is what would be the smallest positive coterminal angle. All right, so let's just do one more. Graph the angle 100 degrees. So that terminates, you got to figure out which quadrant it terminates, 100 degrees. Right, so this would be 90, has to go a little bit into quadrant 2. So here's 100 degrees. So a coterminal angle would be this angle here. That's a positive, not positive, it's a negative since it's open down. So I would do 360 minus 100, and I get 260. But since it's opening down, it would be negative 260 degrees. If it asks for the smallest positive, well, then you have to go around this way. That'd be 360 plus another 100. So that'd be 460 degrees. That would be the smallest positive coterminal angle. Okay, so there is actually one more, which on my paper, I must have cut it off when I took a picture of it. It's the 430 degree angle. Okay, so we have 430 degrees here. This was problem number 2. All right, so now you want to graph 430 degrees. So what you want to do is take 430 to figure out where it terminates and subtract 360. And you get 70 degrees. So this angle starts here on the positive side of the x-axis, goes around 360, and then we have 70 degrees here. All right, so that's 430 degrees. So a coterminal angle, this one's really easy, starts here, ends there. That's coterminal. So this would be 70 degrees. It's not the only one. There's many, many more. We could go around, all the way around like this. Keep going, and then stop. So there's many, many ways to get coterminal angles. The easiest way is to just add and subtract 360 degrees to get coterminal. All right, so that's it, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow in class. Have a good night.